Hello and welcome to another interesting absorbing golf drill by me, Mark Jones. And today we're going to just have a look at our wrist hinging, and this is what I like to do in order to find balance. And the wrist hinge is important because it gets your club in a good position and allows us to strike the ball in a nice, clean, crisp way. The reason why the hinging was important for me was because a couple of years I fractured my wrist, so I had a problem with my wrist hinging. So what I did was I practiced 3 different movements to help me to get my wrist in a very natural position. First thing I did was I placed the club, if that was the ball, I placed the club behind, just slightly in line with the club, or just behind the ball, let's say. And what I then did was I just took the club back in as low as possible and just allowed it to bend up like that. What I found when I was in this position, the wrist didn't bend much. It wasn't square, the club was at a slight angle like that. So that, in other words, was a late hinge of the golf club. And then what I did was I wanted to feel an early hinge. How does it feel to hinge the club a lot earlier? So what I did was I stood in position. I just placed my hands right in front of the golf ball so that it reached my left foot. And what I did from there is I just took it away. And what I found when I looked, I found, wow, I got a very early wrist hinge. So I found that the wrist hinged a lot earlier. By the time I got my left arm parallel to the ground, my wrist was hinged quite a lot. So I worked between those two. I just tried a late hinge and an early hinge, a late hinge, early hinge. And then I decided, okay, well, let's put the two together. If I can put the two together, I may get a feeling of a nice, a more natural wrist hinge. So I put it slightly forward and I dragged it away. And I saw, wow, I get a much more relaxed, much more hinge where my club is at a 90-degree angle, which helps me to get to the top of the swing in a much better way. Okay, so that's what I did to help me with my wrist hinge. So as you can see, if I get to the top of the swing and I have an early wrist hinge, this is what will happen. My club will be almost parallel to the ground at the backswing. If I have a later or wrist hinge, the club is almost direct. So I just wanted a balance between the two, which gives me a lot more control on the golf club. And I can see there it's not straight, it's not parallel, and it's not straight up, but in a nice fashion that way. And I'm able now to swing right through the ball and give a much more natural release of my wrist hinging, and therefore my club can get down into the golf ball a lot better without much effort, and the club can actually strike the ball with a nice proper hinge. Alright, so that's what I did to help me with my hinging of my golf club, and in that hinging helped me to get a bit better timing and much better control of the golf club, not only on the mid swing but also on the top of the swing, and that allowed me to get a better strike on the golf ball. So just to recap, if you want to get a more natural wrist hinge, always try the extremes, and that will help you to feel what does it feel like for each extreme, if it's going late or it's going early, and then try and find a balance. Questions or comments, then email me my email address, and then we'll see if we can get back to you. And thanks for joining me for another absorbing, interesting golf drill by me, Mark Jones. I will see you. Cheers.